devotion to the Immaculate Heart of Mary is the solution for our times, and it's the only solution. Okay, we don't have a political solution, we don't have a military solution. There's only one solution for the crisis that our world and church face right now, and it's because God said so. It's devotion to the Immaculate Heart of Mary. And he wants that throughout the world. That'll be the hallmark of this glorious sixth period that we're talking about. So, she then says, here's your condition, if people will do what I tell you, many souls will be saved, and there will be peace, and the war is going to end. She appeared in the middle of the Great War, World War I, which was destroying Christian civilization. In many ways, World War I was the worst war we ever suffered in terms of its effects and what it did to this world. World War II is kind of like World War I Part 2, really, and it's connected to it, inevitably. Even though more people died, and it was sort of worse in terms of people dying and destruction, World War I did more to sort of change people's minds and get them away from God. And that's when Our Lady appears and she promises that this war is going to end. So that's already a grace that she's given. Then she goes on to say, but if they do not stop offending God, so that's huge. We have to stop offending God. And that's what mankind is not doing right now, which is why it keeps getting worse. But if they do not stop offending God, another worse war will break out in the reign of Pius XI. That's exactly what happened with World War II. When you see a night illumined by an unknown light, know that it is a great sign that God gives you, that he is going to punish the world for its crimes by means of war, hunger, persecution of the Church and of the Holy Father. This light was actually seen on January 25th, 1938. Hitler also saw this light, and he took it as a superstitious sign that he was supposed to, unleash his armies. So that light was seen. Now, that's not to say that there might not be another unknown light in the sky that comes around, because prophecy can be cyclical. But that certainly has already been fulfilled there. Then Our Lady says, to forestall this, I shall come to ask for the consecration of Russia to my Immaculate Heart and the communion of reparation on first Saturdays. So everyone needs to really learn that, and we have it up here, the first Saturday and the consecration, because that's the privileged way that we're going to have devotion to the Immaculate Heart. So God gives us the solution, devotion to the Immaculate Heart, and the privileged means on the global scale that only the Pope and the bishops can accomplish is the consecration of Russia to Mary's Immaculate Heart. And that has not yet happened. And on our family level, parish level, local level, it's the communion of reparation on first Saturday. It's the first Saturday devotion. And this will foster this devotion to the Immaculate Heart. And so what we need to do is we need to be talking to everyone about it so that we get more and more graces through the first Saturday, as well as through our rosaries and other things that we're doing to fulfill what Our Lady asked, to also get the grace for the Pope and the bishops to consecrate Russia to the Immaculate Heart of Mary. So she says, to forestall this, I shall come back. She does come back on June 13th, 1929, to ask for that consecration of Russia, and on December 10th, 1925, to ask for this first Saturday devotion. Our Lady continues, if they heed my requests, Russia will be converted and there will be peace. If not, Russia will spread her errors throughout the world, promoting wars and persecutions of the Church. The good will be martyred, the Holy Father will have much to suffer, various nations will be annihilated. I don't think we've seen that. Various nations are going to be annihilated if we don't cease offending God and do this. And I don't know what kind of timetable we have, but I think it's coming to an end very quickly. In the end, she then goes on to say, in the end, my Immaculate Heart shall triumph. The Holy Father will consecrate Russia to me, Russia will be converted, and some time of peace will be given to the world. So there she's already talking about that sixth age. So those things are certain. Those are going to happen. The real question is just when it's going to happen. When you read other messages, and I don't have time to go through them because we're out of time now, but when you read things like St. John Bosco's dream, talks about the Pope tying the bark of Peter, the Church, to the Holy Eucharist and to Our Lady. Devotion to the Eucharist and devotion to Our Lady. And that's ultimately what brings peace to the world and peace to the Church. Fatima, very focused on the Holy Eucharist and Our Lady. Same thing when Our Lady appears at Akita in Japan. It's kind of like Fatima, a continuation. Many people, I think, rightly believe that the reason she appears at Akita is because the third secret of Fatima was not revealed in 1960 as it ought to have been. And so she comes to let us know what we need to know. Here are some of the things she says, again, on October 13th, 1973, approved by the bishop, approved by the Church. This is what Our Lady says on the anniversary of the miracle of the sun. So October 13th, that connects you directly to Fatima. She tells Sister Agnes, as I told you, if men do not repent and better themselves, the Father will inflict a terrible punishment on all humanity. It will be a punishment greater than the deluge, so greater than the time of Noah and the ark. That's what's headed our way if we don't cease to offend God. Such as one will have never been seen before. Fire will fall from the sky and wipe out a great part of humanity, the good as well as the bad, sparing neither priests nor faithful. Here, this is my own belief, I don't believe this fire falling from the sky is anything natural. People try to say it's going to be a comet. People try to say it might be nuclear weapons. Yeah, it might be those things, but I think it's part of divine chastisement, and it's going to be supernatural, similar to the fire that fell and destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. People are going to know this is a divine chastisement. The survivors will find themselves so desolate that they will envy the dead. The only arms which will remain for you will be the rosary and the sign left by my Son. The work of the devil will infiltrate even into the church in such a way that one will see cardinals opposing cardinals, bishops opposing bishops. The priests who venerate me will be scorned and opposed by their confreres. Churches and altars will be sacked. The church will be full of those who accept compromise, and the demon will press many priests and consecrated souls to leave the service of the Lord. She said this in 1973, but we're living through it. Again, this should give us great confidence. These prophecies are coming true when we're seeing them. The demon will be especially implacable against souls consecrated to God. The thought of the loss of so many souls is the cause of my sorrow. If sins increase in number and gravity, there will no longer be pardon for them. Pray very much the prayers of the Rosary. I alone am able to save you from the calamities which approach. Those who place their confidence in me will be saved.